So let's look at the problem and see how we can solve that. So to explain the problem, I just have a quick tweet which I made as a demo for this session. So let's say I have tweeted that मैं Twitter के लिए एक अनुवादक बना रहा हूँ, which is basically a sentence in Hindi language, but it is written in English script. And for those who do not speak Hindi on the session, this sentence basically means I am making a translator for Twitter, right? So now let's say I have made this tweet, but somebody who does not know Hindi would not be able to understand my tweet, right? And this happens a lot with me. So now how can we solve this problem? And as I told you, Google provides the translation, right? But let's say I have clicked here, but Google could not translate this particular tweet of mine, and it just gave me the original string itself. So what can we do to solve such a problem, and what are the nuances of such a problem is the key area which I want to discuss. So I have divided the problem into basically a 2x2 matrix where the columns have the script and the rows have the language. So let's say a person tweets in an Indic language, and in Indic script. Then we just need to translate, right? Because it is written in Hindi, Devanagari script, and in Hindi language. We just need to translate. But let's say a person has written something in Indic language, but in English script, like the tweet which I have made. It is in Hindi language, but in English or Roman script. So in that case, we first need to transliterate this particular thing into the native script and then translate it to a different language. Similarly, if someone has written something in English language, but in Indic script, then we would want to transliterate that into Roman and then translate it to some other language. But if let's say the script and language are same, again, we would just want to translate. So it's time to see some code. So I can share the link of the Colab notebook with you, and you can download it at your end or copy it at your end, and try to do or make changes to the code as we move forward. So I'll just paste the link in the chat. So this is the link for Google Colab, and I just also share the link for the GitHub repository of the code. And also I've also deployed the code as an application on Heroku, so we can just have a quick demo as well, and you can also go on this particular link and try to translate different tweets as per your wish. So if I copy the URL of the tweet and paste it here, and I just give the source language which is Hindi, and let's say I want to translate my tweet into can we have a show of hands about can we have a someone write on the chat to which language do they want to translate this tweet to? Just to know that, just so that we can know what are the languages people who are on the session speak. Arun sir, is everybody else allowed to? Okay, I got a response saying Malayalam, so let's just try that. I hope it works, because generally code fail happens when you demo it live, right? Okay, so I do not know the script, so I cannot read it, but
yes, it's correct. It's correct. Okay, it's correct. Yeah.
Cool. So okay, I got a validation. So the demo worked. So I'm really happy, because I was thinking most of the times the demo fails when you do it in front of live audience. So interesting. This is a very simple application, and it just works on basically this 2x2 matrix and some amazing pre-trained models which are basically available for us to use in the open source domain. Okay, so let's see how we can build such a solution which is for a very day-to-day problem, or a very Indian problem, so to say. So I hope all of you can access this Google Colab notebook. If somebody is not able to access, they can raise their hand on the chat, and basically I am also going to walk you through this notebook on the session, so you can just follow along. So I'm going to use a couple of packages here. So I'm going to tell you what are they about. So I'm going to use a package called indic-translation, which is which is a very interesting repository built by some developers who have basically open sourced it, and this is a very efficient library to transliterate any given string into a different language. So you can see it supports different indic languages, and has like some very interesting functionality. So here they've given an example to like this particular string, they've translated it from a normal English script to Telugu and Devanagari, and again some other script to Telugu. And this can also like convert text like this to a lay Indian kind of representation, because when it comes to Roman script, we generally do not use Roman script in our day-to-day conversation on social media and chat applications. Okay, so this is a library which we are going to use. So let me just quickly install that. Yeah, so after I've imported the libraries, I have basically like created like a script map here, which has the language name as key and the script value, script annotation is the value, and for most of the languages it is just like a lowercase representation of the language name. But in the generic sense, it can be more than that, because for English we have like 3 scripts which can be there. So similarly, if like a language supports different scripts, you can add the script name in the list, and it would work accordingly. Then there is a pre-processing function which I've basically written to handle Twitter use case specifically, and this basically has only 3 lines, because the API which we are going to use, which hosts the pre-trained model, is very smart in that sense, because it handles a lot of pre-processing on its end only. So so the first step is to remove any web links present in a tweet. So let's say if there are any HTTP links, we need to remove that, because that was giving me some erroneous translations. Then I'm also removing any punctuations from the tweet, and I'm also removing the new line characters. So these are the only 3 pre-processing steps which I've built in right now. But you can easily add any pre-processing steps based on any other use case you want to port this code to. So so this is the pre-processing function basically which we are going to use. Now there is a function called indicize, which basically converts a given text into like a different script. So let's see how this function basically works. So let's call this function, and if let's say if I pass my name Ankur to this function, and I want to convert this into Devanagari script, let's see if this works. Yeah. So this function basically converts or transliterates a particular string into like a native script, and this can and the reverse of this function would be to romanize. So if I want to convert, if I want to transliterate any string into English, I can do that using this particular function. So let's say if I pass this string again, and the script I want you to use is itrans. Okay, I got an error. Okay, the script needs to be okay. So I need to, the input to this function is basically the script which the language is in. So again, I would want to pass. So if I just give the source script, it would transliterate the string into the Roman script. Are we good till now, or is there any doubt which anybody wants to ask, or is there any question? Okay, I see that there was a request for Punjabi as well on the chat. So let's just quickly do that. So let's say I just take this URL and I put it here, and I can give Punjabi and Hindi, and let's see if it works. So I hope it is reading correctly, because I am not a person who knows Punjabi. If it is correct, you can like just tell us on the chat. So if there are no questions, we can move forward. Are we good? Okay, so I'll take that as a yes and move forward, because we have just 20 minutes left. So then there is this main function which is called Twitter and Vad, and this function is basically doing the business logic. What we're doing is basically we're taking a dictionary called form into this function, which should contain 3 parameters: the Twitter URL, the source language of the tweet, and the target language to which we want to convert. So I'll walk you through basically the steps in the code, and then we will run it for a couple of tweets and see what output we are getting. And I would encourage you to try this same thing on your end, either on the app or in the notebook, and try to see if you can get the same output, or try more lengthier tweets and difficult tweets, and see what errors or what kind of interesting things you can uncover in this particular API. So if the Twitter URL is blank, we would just return no Twitter URL. And if the source language and target languages are same, again, we would return like an error message saying that the source and target language are same, right? If we have a valid Twitter URL, we would basically extract the the Twitter URL ID out of that, so which is the last part of the URL. So this one. So this is the unique ID which Twitter provides to every tweet you do on the platform. And then there is this Twitter developer API, which you can use to get the tweet data from any public tweet, right? And for every account, you need to basically activate this API by going to the Twitter developer page and applying for like an API access, and they will immediately provide you with a bearer token, which is basically like a string, a long string, which is your unique key to access this API. And you can just send a GET request to this API to get the tweet out of that. So let's just quickly see this particular API in action. Okay? Let's say if I use this very tweet, this ID. Okay, I need to define my token. So I had actually skipped this cell basically. I've got the response. Let's check what it has. Okay, so it is showing a 200 response code, and let's check the data in JSON format within this response. So when we check the JSON which is returned by this API, it would basically have the ID of the tweet and the text which is present within the tweet, right? So I had written this, and it is basically returning me the tweet, and that's essentially what we need from this API. So that's how it works. Now, when we've got the response, we would just extract the original tweet from the JSON response and basically send it to our preprocessing function to process the tweet and get a processed form of the tweet. Then I have used a quick hack to quickly detect the script of the particular tweet by just passing it through the function called Unicode data, because all the every language is basically there's a representation stored for every word or every letter of every language within the system, and that is the Unicode representation. And for every character you can get this Unicode representation or Unicode name for that particular character. So I'll just show you how this works. So let's say if I put A in this, it will give me Latin small letter A. So this is basically the Unicode name of this character. And let's say if I input like a Devanagari script letter, I take this and give this as an input. Okay, it is saying that only one character should be there. So let me, okay, yeah. Okay, still it is not taking. Yeah, so if I give one character as an input to this function, it would return me Devanagari letter NA. So it will basically have the script of this particular character in the first word of the response, right? So it is telling me that this particular letter is from Devanagari script. So this is a quick method to detect like which script the tweet belongs to, and then we can just have stored that response in a variable called tweet script, right? Are we good till now? So I would just like to have some interaction on the session, because I don't want it to be like a monologue, especially when we're doing a hands-on session. If there is any confusion or any doubt, you can like write it in the chat. And
Ankur, there is one comment like screen size is very small. Saying like maybe you can.
Okay, let me check if I can do that. Is this better? Is this readable?
Yeah, I think now it's.
Great. Thanks for the input, Arun sir. I hope everybody can read now. I didn't know it was very small. So yeah. So, okay, but let's say if so when we have this script name within our tweet script variable, then we would basically write our logic based on this 2x2 matrix. So we would say if the source language is English, which is this row in the 2x2 matrix, what we'll do is we'll simply call the translation API and get the translation from the model, right? And then we would also once we have the translation, we would also romanize that particular output into the detected script, and then like send you the output, right? And then there is this else condition which will basically like handle the other part, which is if the tweet is in indic language, right? So which is the case for my tweet here. So if the tweet is in indic language, then we would see whether like the first condition would be whether the script of the tweet is in English or an indic script. So we check if the Latin script is present in the tweet, then we would first convert it to the indic indic script by calling the indicize function, right? And then we would translate it. If the tweet is not in Latin script, then we would not basically indicize it, and we would directly call the translation API, right? And then again we would pass on the response to our like return the response and the translated portion, right? Okay, so I hope I'm not going too fast, and it is like it is clear to everybody, because we have I think I just brushed over the method because we just have 10 minutes left. So if there's any doubt, please tell me. Yeah. So let's say I have a sample form here where I have put the URL and the source in the target language. can execute that and just print it here. I need to execute the script map as well. So now the algorithm says that English script was found, and then it indexized it to Devanagari and converted it to like Bengali, and then also it is giving us the transliteration for that particular translation. So that's how the function is basically working, right? I hope the 2x2 logic is clear, and if there's any question, please go ahead. I also have another tweet. Let me just check. I also made a tweet in, yeah. So let's say I have a tweet which I have created in English language. So let's just try that as well. So now I'll give, okay, let's not change this cell. I'll make another cell. I'll tell the source language to be English, and let's say I want to convert it into, which language should I do? Let's say Hindi. Yeah. So we got Twitter के लिए एक अनुवादक उपकरण बनाने की कोशिश कर रहा है. So it's not like 100% correct, but it still comes very close to what the actual translation would be. Now there are some interesting things which we can observe here. One is that although it was the translation model was able to convert Twitter word, which is like a English word, to Hindi, and that's not exactly translation, it is actually transliteration. But the transliteration library which we are using could not convert this to again English very effectively, and that's because we're right now using a rule-based transliteration library, not a deep learning-based transliteration library. So a deep learning-based transliteration library would be able to handle these complex cases much better than what we are seeing right now. So this is basically a demo of like a very day-to-day use case which anybody can come across, and which involves like this very Indian problem of having too many languages, and especially having a mix, like using a mixture of English script, English words, and Hindi or other words from other languages in a mixture form, which we usually do on social media and chat platforms, right? So that's that I hope it conveys the idea of the problem and the nuances and the interesting solutions which we can build using these models.